Okay, so now you can run a trace route online with many utilities. Okay, so if the IP address isn't related to your service provider, okay, find out if it's being passed off somewhere else, like like a VPN. Okay, and if it just shows the IP, run a trace on that IP. Just use those IPs to find out, and I'm going to tell you some tools how you can do that, how to do that. I can't train you to be a technician, but I can give you some ideas. So go to the terminal or the command prompt in your PC, Windows PC. Most of you use Windows. You can use the command that's called trace RT. It's just one word, tracert. Trace RT. And then you pick the website that you want, like google.com. Try picking something else, because I have a hypothesis that the government and or Google, in conjunction together, to hide this secret that FISA is invading your the government's using FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, to invade your rights or to violate your First Amendment. I'm thinking that is an attempt to hide that, or at least with that one website. That's my hypothesis. Okay, because you can no longer run a trace route there on Google. But if I'm correct, that means you can't do it from the command prompt either, and that just wouldn't be very likely. Wouldn't be very likely. I'm thinking it's going to be those third-party sites for to prevent people that are not technically astute from finding out more about how their traffic is being traced, and I think they're being more obscure about it, like saying, "Hey, what buildings are connected to our FBI?" Where we can send this traffic first instead of directly to the FBI, so people like David Johnson don't directly know we're monitoring them, and so that he can't teach others how to do it. Well, there's going to be a location within however many miles, even if it be 100 within an FBI location, and it's going to be a straight shot, you know, from federal building or state building to the FBI. You can go tracert or tracert, google.com, yahoo.com, um, x.com, um, whitehouse.gov, I think. Probably not a great idea. Don't do that one. um, and in Linux, if you're a Linux user, you already know the command. Or you're new to Linux, very new. And the command for that is trace route, one word. Trace, ROUTE, one word. And my camera just moved by itself. um, and you could use online utilities that include maps. I was using that website, traceroute, or traceroute, one word, -online.com. There's other websites that you can use for tracing around. Just Google trace route online map. Okay. And after this podcast, you're going to see that maybe some of these are no longer available or maybe more complicated to use. Um, but the government cannot prevent you from using basic tech tools that are on your PC. Okay? Everything you can do online exists on your PC already, except for the maps. But you can use those IPs and say who is. Enter the IP. And you'll have websites where you can trace those IPs. If you want to know anything about a website, say who is in Google with the IP. If you come across a strange website, strange IP, you can trace that and it will give a route to that IP. You could ping it, which is ping. It'll give you the response time. But make sure that you can get a visual map. And if you don't have a visual map, because all these services stop working online, make sure you get a clear IP trace. And if you struggle with that, you can download WinMTR. It's a tool. It's a utility tool that performs the same trace with my traceroute, or a tool. The should be the same version that's run in Linux, I do believe. If traceroute in Windows blocks IP ranges reserved for the federal government, they may have contracts with Windows to do so. Don't be fooled by the federal government. You have the right to find out if they are breaking your rights within the confines of the law. It means you don't have to hack somebody or anybody to find out if the government's violating your rights. If you need help on the subject to find out if the government is surveilling you, or anything that I here had mentioned, research it with Google. Google's your best friend when it comes to education in that manner. Everything I just told you will get you everything that you need to know to find out if the government is surveilling you illegally, because you know if you've done anything wrong, right? Then contact your lawyer. I aim to file for a class action, and you can probably join mine if you're invited. If the government won't respect my rights and settle the situation in regard to the damages I've received, then yes, I'm going to sue the government. And yes, you are invited. If anything has happened to you and you'd like to do something about it. Stand up for your rights. Some have the mentality that we can't do anything. It's not true. It's not true. There's just not enough people out there that have discovered this like I have. Not yet, but it's coming, and it's been on the news. Check out the CBS News app, CBS Reports, CBS News. Check out the watch list.